If I had not watched the Grand Prix, when Ayrton arrived at the aircraft, I could not tell from his manner whether he had won or lost. He was so even the whole time, totally even. Wonderful guy. He wasn't very talkative, he just said hello, right? Because he was in fact quite shy at times, I think. And it was 3 months before he really started talking to me. Normally people who own private jets, they're egocentric megalomaniacs, and many of them, and in fact the vast majority of them, were gangsters. But Ayrton was totally different, and as I say, there was only 3 people that I ever worked for that were straight. I used to say, come and fly your jet. It's your jet, right? Come and fly it, you see. And I taught him to. I didn't need to do much teaching because he already flew the helicopter. There were just a few things that I had to point out, but in general, obviously, he had a magnificent feel for the aeroplane. He could land that aeroplane very well indeed. It was my responsibility to make sure that he didn't do anything silly, right? But he didn't do anything silly. In the middle of the Atlantic one day, I was flying him to the Canadian Grand Prix, and one of my fuel gauges went, and it's tight for fuel for this aircraft to go across the Atlantic. I had to dismantle the panel in flight. It was quite funny because Ayrton came up the front and said, "What are you doing?" I told him what I was doing, and he quite accepted it. Ayrton spent a lot of time talking on the radio, long-range radio, when Adriane was in Brazil, and when he said he'd finished, he'd give me back the microphone, and I said, "I can always recognise a young man in love," and he smiled. I don't think that Adriane Galisteu was the person that they wanted Ayrton to. I was flying his airplane one day, and I was in a thunderstorm, and the windscreen shattered. So I obviously had to land, and I had to put in a new windscreen, which was, I think, about $26,000 or something like that, right? A few days after that, I had to go and pick up Ayrton in Faro, in Portugal, and he was with Adriane Galisteu. And we were flying into Paris, and I think they were going for some shopping and some possible presentations or something. And I said to Ayrton, "Please make sure she hasn't got your credit card." You know? And Ayrton, very seriously and very quickly, he said, "Owen, she costs me a lot less than you." And Ayrton was getting older, and he wanted to be his own boss, and he was slowly breaking away from his father. Not nastily or anything, he's just a growing man.